Hey guys, what is going on? NFL Week 5 Power Rankings. So in this power ranking, so many teams moved around. I think this is the most movement I've had in a power ranking so far this season. So make sure you drop a thumbs up on this video if you want. It really helps out the channel. But without further ado, let's just get into it. So coming in at number 32, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is one of the two teams in the league that is still I almost just said undefeated. I mean defeated. They have no wins yet, and I mean this organization is just kind of a mess at the current moment with the Urban Meyer situation. At number 31, I have the Houston Texans. So the Texans, they do have a win, but I know that's kind of hard to remember now, especially after that loss versus the Bills this week. They put up 0 points, and they allowed the Bills to score 40 points. Davis Mills had a really bad game, and to win games, this team desperately needs Tyrod Taylor back. At number 30, I have the Detroit Lions. So this is the other team that is still winless, but they're definitely better than the Jacksonville Jaguars. I really thought this team was due for a win this week, and I really thought this team was going to win versus the Bears, but they did not, and you know, they still haven't won a game yet this season, but I feel like they're due. I still do. I feel like this team is going to get a win. I just feel like this team is heading in the right direction. At number 29, I have the New York Jets. So let's go Jets. A big overtime win for the Jets. Who would have thought the Jets would be 1-3? Who would have thought? Zach Wilson, he was only sacked one time this week versus the Titans, and that was huge because that really allowed him to play like the Zach Wilson we saw in college and make some really Zach Wilson type throws. I have been saying throughout these power rankings that, you know, the Jets O-line is really affecting Zach Wilson, and we saw what happened when they only allowed him to be sacked one time. They won the game, and New York football is back, baby, because you know who's coming in at number 28 here? The New York Giants, because guess what? Another New York team, another big overtime win. High five if you're a Jets fan, virtual high five here. We want to bring New York football back, and we got to do that together. So the Giants, they won in overtime versus the Saints. You can go watch my reaction to that if you want. Daniel Jones was just dropping dimes. Let's go, Danny Dimes. And the play calling on offense is what it needs to be for the rest of the season. They need to continue to throw the ball down the field. And if they continue to throw the ball down the field and stop playing so conservatively, they can win football games. So I was very happy with that Giants win. At number 27, I have the Atlanta Falcons. So they almost beat the Washington football team, but then they kind of lost at the last minute because, you know, they're the Atlanta Falcons. But this offense is finally putting up points. So I will say that the offense is finally putting up points. Defense still isn't great, but offense seems like it's progressing. At number 26, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Back-to-back really bad losses by the Eagles, especially because their defense gave up 42 points this past week versus the Chiefs, and then 41 points last week versus the Cowboys. I mean, back-to-back games giving up 40-plus points is not good. And the play calling on offense is extremely questionable because they are just not running the ball. I don't understand what this coaching staff and the last coaching staff has against Miles Sanders. He had 7 carries in the game versus the Chiefs. Your number one running back has 7 carries? Wouldn't you want to keep the ball in your offense's possession as much as possible and keep Patrick Mahomes off the field for as long as possible? What? So you're only going to run the ball 7 times with your number one running back? Is that how you think you're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs? Doesn't make any sense to me at all. Feel bad for Eagles fans because it's honestly just perplexing. I don't understand. Like, you're going against 2 great offenses and you barely run the ball? Weird. At number 25, I have the Chicago Bears. So this defense really played great versus the Lions. They put their offense in a great position to, you know, put up points and eventually win this game. And the good news is they didn't have to ask Justin Fields to do too much to get this W. And, you know, most importantly, he wasn't sacked 9 times. It's really, I think, encouraging when, you know, it's a rookie's second start in the NFL and you don't have to put the whole team on his back. He didn't have to throw the ball too many times. He didn't have to throw the ball too many times. He didn't even have to run with it too many times, but they were still able to get the W. And that's huge, I think, for a rookie quarterback's development, just giving him that confidence. And also, like I said, you know, not letting him get sacked 9 times is probably huge, and he probably feels much better this Monday than he did last Monday. At number 24, I have the Miami Dolphins, and lots of mistakes and turnovers cost them this game versus the Colts. They set the Colts up in great field position a ton because of turnovers and stuff, and the Dolphins haven't won since week 1 now. At number 23, I have the Washington football team. This defense just does not look how I expected it to look this season. They really have not played up to expectations at all so far this season. But they did get the win versus the Falcons, and Heineke, he had 3 touchdowns, and he looks like he has a little Fitzmagic in him. He really does. I don't know. He kind of gets those last-second wins. At number 22, I have the New England Patriots. Mac Jones probably played his best NFL game this past weekend versus the Buccaneers. I really don't know why I really don't know why Bill Belichick didn't go for it on 4th down, because even if that field goal does get made, that was actually missed in the game, you're still leaving way too much time on the clock for Tom Brady to get the offense in a position to kick a game-winning field goal. So I really don't understand Bill Belichick's decision-making in this game. I feel like he basically lost them this game, and the only win for the Patriots is now versus the Jets. They only have 1 win, and it's versus the Jets. At number 21, I have the Indianapolis Colts. So this is a team I felt was due for a win for a long time. They have definitely not played up to my expectations so far this season, but Carson Wentz's ankles do look like they're feeling a little better. Whoa, did you hear my New York accent there? Better. They do look like they're feeling a little better because he was able to move around the pocket more, and that's really big because his offensive line has been playing terrible in pass pro. So him being able to get outside the pocket really helped the Colts win this game. I mean, he had this great 3rd and long completion to really seal this game and like confirm, I guess you could say, the win for the Colts. And he had to get outside the pocket for that. And it's just, he has to be able to get outside the pocket for them to win games, because last week, the week before the Dolphins game, he was just throwing the ball on the floor because he was going to get sacked and he couldn't really move outside the pocket. Jonathan Taylor, he had over 100 rushing yards, and he's a huge reason why this team is able to get 1st downs. I mean, he's just downhill runner, moving this team down the field. At number 20, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I say this every single week, but Ben Roethlisberger just looks so bad. Like, I don't know when they're going to decide to change quarterbacks, because I don't know how much longer this offense can play with Ben Roethlisberger as a starting quarterback. The defense is legit the only reason that this team is in games, and they're 1-3 now still, so they're not like good. The Tennessee Titans are coming in at number 19 here. They lost to the Jets in overtime, and the Titans O-line just played absolutely terrible. Tannehill got sacked 7 times versus the Jets, so the pass protection was not good this past weekend for the Titans. At number 18, I have the New Orleans Saints. So the offense was actually able to move the ball down the field, but they just weren't able to convert in 4th down situations and put points on the board when they needed to. I don't know why they didn't involve Alvin Kamara in the past game, and also this defense could not stop the Giants at the end of this game. Like, this defense could not stop the Giants offense late in this game or in overtime when they really needed that big stop. At number 17, I have the Minnesota Vikings. So yes, the Vikings are 1-3, but they have been very competitive in every single game that they have played, and they have been playing actually very good teams. So this might be like the best 1-3 team in the league right now. They lost to the Browns 14-7 this week. I still think this Vikings offense can be good, and I still think this Vikings offense is good, but the Browns just have a really good defense. At number 16, I have the Denver Broncos. So the Denver Broncos are no longer undefeated. Unfortunately, Teddy B had to leave this Ravens game with a concussion, and after Teddy B exited this game at halftime, the Broncos offense did not score any more points. They did not even score a field goal. Drew Lock, he did not look good at all in this game. At number 15, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. So the Bengals are really exceeding expectations right now. Burrow, he is balling, and now the Bengals are 3-1 after that comeback win versus the Jaguars on Thursday Night Football. At number 14, I have the Carolina Panthers. So they are no longer undefeated as well after this week's loss versus the Cowboys. They actually had the lead into the 3rd quarter, but that's when Sam Darnold threw 2 interceptions, which just made it way too easy for this Cowboys offense to score, and the game kind of went downhill for the Panthers after those 2 interceptions. At number 13, I have the San Francisco 49ers. So Jimmy G left this past week's game with a calf injury. Trey Lance, he played the whole second half. I felt he was scrambling a little too quick and, not really going through his full progression. I just hope the game plan is better for Trey Lance if he does have to start again this week. I hope they play to his strengths more. I know it's probably difficult him going into the game in the middle of the game when he was not expecting to be the starter. But I just hope they make a game plan that is to his strengths and don't ask him to do too much, honestly, because I still feel like he's a quarterback that needs to develop, and I feel like he can be a very good quarterback if he, has the time to develop and learn. But I just hope the 49ers don't put him in a bad situation. At number 12, I have the Seattle Seahawks. So they got a much needed win versus the 49ers. And this defense, they played much better in this game versus the 49ers than it did versus the Vikings. At number 11, I have the Las Vegas Raiders. So this offense did not look good versus the Chargers to start the game. Really, the whole first half, this Raiders offense did not look good. They tried to complete the comeback, but basically the Raiders could not stop Justin Herbert. They just kept converting when they needed to, and the Raiders could not get that big stop versus this Chargers offense and Herbert. At number 10, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. So they finally got another win, and I didn't want to move them down a spot after a win, but I just felt like there were other teams that deserved to be in front of them on this list as of now. This defense is really an issue for this team. If this defense continues to play this way, Mahomes is going to have to do so much for this team to make it to another Super Bowl. I mean, this offense is going to have to just put up like 40 points a game like they did versus the Eagles to win games. At number 9, I have the Baltimore Ravens. So this is another team I didn't want to have to move down after a win, but I just felt like other teams deserved to be in front of them. Lamar Jackson is playing really well this season. I feel like we're not talking about how well Lamar is playing enough this season. Like, he's really putting this team on his back and really, getting wins for this team because of his play individually. I know it's a team game, but there have been games where I feel like he's literally the reason they won. Marquise Brown, he had that big catch in the end zone where he just laid out for the touchdown. So hopefully, he's over his case of the dropsies. And I still think the Ravens are a really good team. They'll probably move up on this list if one of these teams ahead of them loses or has a close win. After this week, I felt like I had to put these other teams in front of them. At number 8, I have the Buffalo Bills. So they're 3-1 now, and they haven't lost since that week 1 loss versus the Steelers, and every single win they have had has been a very dominant win. This defense has looked really good all season, but now this offense is really starting to put up a lot of points. They were struggling week 1, but this offense really seems to be, playing like the offense we saw last season now. At number 7, I have the Cleveland Browns. Another team I really didn't want to have to move down after a win, but listen, this offense is really starting to concern me. I felt like they were kicking too many field goals in week 3. Like, I was just like, why aren't they getting into the end zone? And they only scored 14 points versus the Vikings, and I just need to see this offense score more touchdowns. The defense is amazing. It's an outstanding defense, but the offense, I'm concerned. Can they score touchdowns? That's my question. If I see the Browns score more touchdowns, they will move back up on this list. I had them at number 4 before, but I just felt like that was too high for a team I had a lot of offensive concerns about. At number 6, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. So you guys know how high I was on the Chargers coming into the season, and Herbert looks like an MVP candidate right now. I mean, huge win versus the Raiders. Raiders are undefeated no longer because of the Chargers. Defense played absolutely outstanding versus the Raiders, especially to start this game. And Staley looks like he is a fantastic head coach. I know he's only been a head coach for 4 games in the NFL, but he's looking like he's going to be a great head coach in this league. At number 5, I have the Dallas Cowboys. So I said it last week that I felt like this Cowboys team was going to be in the top 5 very soon, and here they are at the number 5 spot the following week. They beat the undefeated Panthers. And honestly, we were talking a lot about this Panthers defense before this week, and this Panthers defense was really no problem for this Cowboys offense. This Cowboys offense is so good. I don't know who's going to stop this Cowboys offense, what defense is going to stop this Cowboys offense. And Diggs is just playing unreal on this Cowboys defense. An interception in every single game so far this season. Absolutely nuts. At number 4, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So another team I didn't want to move down after a win, but I just had to. This secondary, it has a crazy number of injuries that's causing problems for this team. I mean, Mac Jones played his best NFL game versus this defense, but I do feel like once this secondary and once this team gets more healthy, they will move up on this power ranking. But as of right now, I have to put them at number 4, and this offense is really going to have to carry this team for the time being. Brady is really going to have to carry this team for the time being while there's so many injuries on this defense. At number 3, I have the Green Bay Packers. So hopefully Jair Alexander's injury isn't too serious. Hopefully he's not going to be out for a long time because this Packers defense really, really needs him. And that's probably my concern with this Packers team right now is this defense. How many teams are they going to be able to stop? Rodgers, he had a solid game versus the Steelers. I mean, it wasn't his best game, but, the Steelers do have a good defense. But listen, this defense, it is a little concerning to me, but we'll see what happens. I don't want to move them down a ton yet. I had them at number 2 last week. I have them at number 3 this week. I only moved them down 1 spot after a win, but this team, similarly to the Buccaneers, it's going to come down to quarterback play. Is the quarterback play and the play of the offense going to be able to overcome some bad defensive plays? At number 2, I have the Los Angeles Rams, and this was a really surprising loss for them, at least to me. Like, I really expected them to beat the Cardinals. I thought they were a more complete team. This offense did not look as dominant as it did in the first 3 weeks of the season. Stafford did not look as good as he looked in the first 3 weeks of the season, and this Cardinals offense really could not be stopped by this Rams defense. I thought this Rams defense would play better. It did not. I know it's only 1 game, and it might be just an off game, it was a division rivalry game and all of that, but this Rams defense, this Rams team as a whole, defense and offense, just did not look the same this week. And at number 1, I have the Arizona Cardinals. I had the Rams at 1 last week after they beat the Buccaneers, and I said, when a team beats the number 1 team and they're like in the top 5 of this power ranking, you have to put them at number 1, right? Like, that's the transitive property or whatever that, it's like a math property, I don't know. But listen, the Cardinals are the only undefeated team left in the league, and who would have thought? Honestly, who would have thought? Huge prove-it win for the Cardinals versus the Rams. They proved to everyone, we are a legit team. I was concerned about this defense coming into this game. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this defense, but this defense made this Rams offense play their worst game this season. I don't know if statistically that's the case, but they just did not look the same this week versus Cardinals defense. So shout out to the Cardinals defense because the Cardinals defense really proved me wrong. I really like the offensive game plan that the Cardinals used this week. It was really balanced. They had a lot of run plays, they had a lot of pass plays, short pass plays, long pass plays. They just could not be stopped by this Rams defense because they were doing everything so well and they were doing so many different things so well. Chase Edmonds had over 100 rushing yards. And yeah, guys, that is it for this video. Make sure you drop a thumbs up, comment down below, let me know what you think of this power ranking, and subscribe. Peace!